last hero now. They have a Lina, we're assuming that's going to be mid. Do they just like double mind game and run Lina, Lion, double support, and then pick another mid? Because I don't think they actually can, right? Because Magnus is banned, Shadowfiend's banned, Queen is picked, TA is picked, Lesh is banned. Yeah, I'd actually think they're out of heroes if they wanted to try to do that.
You could technically run a dual lane mid with Slark, who is really good at removing refraction with the Dark Pact. It's not very likely that they'll do it, but it could actually work. All right.
Is this Brood mid?
This is hopefully for them, not Brood mid, because that is terrible.
Dude, Brood mid is hilarious. You just put webs everywhere. What can they do?
It's not a thing.
It could be a thing. Believe.
I think they're just gonna. Yeah, they're transitioning the Shaker into a support role in this game. It's gotta be. Like, which is interesting, because she said most of the time, like, the vast majority of games they play him as a core, but they might just feel forced, and this Brood pick is actually really, really good, because NIP have no solution whatsoever. Scream of Pain is okay, but you need high levels before it really does anything against the Broodlings, and the other heroes can't do it.
Could they go, like, Clockwork support and run, like, Tide or something? Just like a last-ditch effort.
This entire draft.
It's really weird, though, right?
It's a good draft. I like drafts like this. Where you really counterpick, even individual heroes, they've just counterpicked specific lanes the whole, like not the whole way, but the last two picks for both sides have really tried to counter specific heroes, so.
It's not often you see Brood make it this far into the pool either. He's typically almost always the 3rd or 4th ban.
And NIP's go-to against it is usually Axe. I think they might be considering the Darkseer for Jonas and then run a support clock, like you said, or even if they feel like they could get away with it. I actually think Darkseer is a pretty good pick for them, where they could run him as a 4th position, who semi-jungles, and then he can gank together with TA with Iron Shell and with Clockwork with Iron Shell, and there we go. Exactly addicted, they're going to pick Rubik.
We are amazing in this. I just want to put that out there.
I just feel like Rubik doesn't really solve their problem.
I mean, Fatebolt's alright. There's some good spells to steal. Like, you can steal Fissure. There's good wave clear. Like, you can just steal Lina's Dragon Slave if you need extra wave clear. Now, that's going to take a while, but...
This is just one of those games where if the Brood player has an exceptional game, he can win the game alone.
But we also have to keep in mind that it's pretty uncommon that we're going to see, like, safe lane farming Queen, like you called it earlier. So, potentially, like, that lane, Disruptor, Queen, Rubik, it can kill the Brutes, like, flat out. Like, really, how much are we expecting this Brute to get in the first couple of waves is my question.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's possible that they just shut Relax down enough in the first, let's say, 3 minutes that they can leave their co-op solo. The thing that sometimes happens, though, is that teams focus really hard on shutting down Brood. Like, they kill it, they gank it like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 times in lane, and then still, the Brood has managed to get experience and can still push the tower and still annoy the safe lane hero. I guess if co-op gets a head start, she can actually manage, though, so I would agree with that.
They start level 1 Dust as well on Era, so they really, really want to kill early and make sure that Era is going to have that easy safe lane. Because I'm pretty sure with those rotations, like Rubik and Disruptor with the Queen, you can easily, or not Queen, excuse me, the TA, you can easily kill mid as well. So they have a lot of aggressive potential, assuming that that lane actually does favorably for them. But that means we're going to have Jonas playing Clockwork on the off lane. He's going to be going up against potentially a tri-lane coming out from basically unknown. And this tri-lane is still kind of... It's lackluster to me.
It's definitely manageable for Clockwork.
Yeah.
Slark, as you mentioned, is a difficult matchup, but Lion and Shaker are really weak level 1. They don't really deal much damage. You more or less need an absolutely perfect Fissure to kill the Clockwork. And even if he dies, like let's say Jonas dies, the question is how much attention does he draw to himself? They probably need both Shaker and Lion to kill him every single time, and that's just going to open up the map elsewhere so they can actually play their 3-on-1 against the Brood and get away with it.
Yeah. And we'll see what each offlaner is able to get in the situation. I think that the Brood is, in general, going to have a harder time like getting himself going. But once he does, it's going to be more difficult for Nip to deal with him. Whereas Jonas might have an easier time in lane, but depending on how basically they don't play, he might not be able to find his hook opportunities as easily. So it's a little bit of an interesting dynamic how these two offlaners are going to be working out for both teams. And we talked about mid, both kind of in agreement that the TA should do well here. And there shouldn't be too much roaming from either team, I would imagine, at least for some time.
Yeah, that's one of the... Well, I guess the Radiant lineup is decent at roaming, but they're not good at roaming a TA.
Yeah.
They have single target burst damage. The only way they have of really dealing with refraction is the Slark, but he can't gank. So it's going to be difficult for them to kill Limp. What they're going to do for now is that they're going to put in the Lion here to just harass and stand on the cliff and be annoying so Lina can farm. And as a result of that, we actually have a Ryze sitting on 8 and 2 against a 0-0 TA.
Perfect score, but also keep in mind,
absolutely unheard of.
it's a double wave.
Yeah, let's
so-
see how many he gets.
Yeah, probably not many, but at least getting
Look
the
at
experience.
Rise. Wow, he's going up super aggressive. Nice impale.
Yeah, he gets a stun off as well.
He's actually not getting a single CS. All right,
He
he
got
got
one.
one.
He got one. We're on the board.
This is enough, though. Now you can actually leave Lina alone, and you can expect her to have a pretty good lane.
I think as the levels
good of a
kind of
start.
even out, though, that it will be easier for Limp to CS in the long run than it will be for Arise. So,
Well, he just didn't get crushed, which now he'll be able to get his bottle, and then he can Dragon Slave spam.
Yeah, yeah.
All the crush,
so top lane, relax. He's chilling out here. He's managed to get one creep worth of experience. That's more than I thought, actually. I thought he would just be completely zoned. And Yonisafan has actually managed to secure himself level 2, but that's only because he saw Snowman and sitting mid. He was able to play a bit more greedy in that off-lane position.
And the ability to, of course, change the equilibrium of the creep wave with the power cogs. Always.
Yeah, and against double melee, like Clockwork,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
very
scary.
easy. I'm actually a little bit surprised he's not more than just flat level 2, with Lion moving instantly. But there's another wave reaching the tower now. It's actually double range creep wave, and there's another one no, never mind, they pulled that, so he's going to get pretty much level 3 here. Or actually, he will get level 3 if they don't deny anything, which looks like they won't. Oh, 5 XP.
5 short.
And
Still
mid
low.
lane, Limp, putting on a bit of pressure here. But he's still far behind.
Yeah, he's got some catching up to do. Arise has done a very good job of landing a couple of stuns and just keeping him at bay. He does have a full bottle, though, with the invis, so I think with the use of refraction and maybe getting level 5 soon, he should be able to make his way back in. I'm just like, TA will pretty much always be able to farm to some degree, and even like taking jungle stacks isn't out of the question. A lot of TAs like to stack Ancients even nowadays, just be able to kill them with side blades, so he has plenty of methods for recovery in this game. I guess the big question is, what heroes are we looking at to really impact the game? I mean, Era is playing a safe lane Queen, so do we expect him to still move a lot, like you would see like Limp playing Queen, for example?
I think so. I think when you play Quap like this, you think of it a bit as how you play safe lane Clinks. So you dominate your lane, you farm your Orchid, and then you start missing from the map. You indirectly put pressure on all lanes by being missing, because all of a sudden you could show up, instead of with Skeleton Walk, you show up with Blink, and then you Orchid and just burst someone down. So it's a fairly similar concept that actually more or less deals with any of Unknown's heroes. They don't have anyone who's good at dealing with Orchid ganks, so unless if Slark has ridiculous reactions and actually sees the Quap coming, he won't even be able to Dark Pack the Orchid. So that's what I'm expecting out of Era here anyway. Alternatively, they could move Limp. It'd be like, okay, we want to make sure we prioritize his farm, we send him to the safe lane, put Quap mid, but then that opens up for, of course,
Top
the Brood.
lane, could be seeing the first blood here, relax, very far out of position, gets dusted, Hanskin on the Disruptor will be able to secure that kill for the team, and they finally managed to get the Broodmother down once. He hit level 2 off of it, but giving away the first blood, probably not worth for one creep.
And with Jonas already being level 4, there's a very clear pattern with the off lanes, so Nip definitely getting the better of the side lanes, and now Limp is catching up as you said he would. He's only 6 CS behind, or actually 7 right now, but the relative difference is closing in. They're more or less both of the heroes mid are just farming their own creeps, and that makes the advantage of the Lina less and less a factor. As a matter of fact, Limp is pretty far ahead on experience in this lane. I guess Arise has been sacrificing a little bit of experience for runes, and in addition to that, Lion, of course, took a bit of the experience in the start.
He took around 3 waves, right, I think? Like 2 or 3 waves he was there for? Maybe it was just 2.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
that would explain the 300 experience. That's about
Yeah.
right.
So, Relax still playing super passive here in the top lane after dying the first time. I guess it's just a matter of when is the go point for either team, because I feel basically Unknown actually need more on their heroes to really feel confident in taking fights. The only real place I can see Arise going is bottom. Like, if he goes top, you don't have a setup for your stun. And middle
Speaking
lane,
of Arise, he could be in trouble, or maybe not. Maybe it's Hanskin instead. It is definitely Hanskin instead. Easy turnaround here.
Yeah, he gets a Hex out. He's going to walk away, had Refraction up. So that was really nice. Maybe just a little bit of miscommunication, because it was very clear that Limp wanted to run. Like, he wasn't even like trying to go on that, but Disruptor just a little bit too aggressive, I guess.
Yeah, I imagine he wanted to try for the glimpse play and then try to kill, but it was a very unlikely kill, and ultimately just put himself in a pretty bad position. And Unknown take advantage of it. Good rotation in from the line as well to help out with that kill, and they're also going to secure the top rune by the looks of it. Limp is actually in a lot of trouble. Nice meld attack here onto Pure Evil, but he's still cut off by the Fissure. There is an Impale available. Will land it. As he's just going to meld and be safe.
A little bit anticlimactic there. It's like, he might be able to get the kill, but no detection, unfortunately. So I guess it's just going to be down to... Both teams are farming at about equal rate. Like, the Slark and the Queen are about neck and neck. The Lina and the TA, pretty much the same. The real big difference between both the teams, as we mentioned earlier, is just the offlaners. It's the Jonas Fan's almost level 5 right now, whereas Relax, I mean, he's actually started to recover a bit as well. A couple of rotations coming out from Nip, allowing him to get some experience, and the wave has been near his tower for some time now. So he's not just, like, totally suffering, but...
Speaking of rotations, Hanskin.
They still have a dust on the Queen of Fan.
The question is if Eros is going to blindly try it. Oh, he ate a tree. He is totally...
Yeah.
No, maybe not.
Oh, the Spider-Man is actually doing quite a bit of damage to Era. He's going to be forced to blink back. That was actually very nicely played from Relax. Just putting the spiders on Era to scare him, because if he had aggressively blinked there, he might have just ended up killing himself too. Like, they probably kill the bird, but I don't think trading Era is worth it.
That would not have been worth it, especially not with Lion porting in to grab the experience. So, made the right call in the moment. Now, Lion's going to rotate again. He's gone into mid, maybe looking to rotate bottom as well, where Nico has bought his Midas.
He always buys Midas on this hero, by the way.
It is really good on Slurp, too.
I think at the very least, getting level 11 is great. Like, just getting the bonus regeneration, it almost doubles in value from level 1 to 2, so 3 to 5%. And plus, maxing out all your spells is fantastic on that hero. Even getting extra points into the Essence Shift, so your agility lasts longer.
And it's also just a hero that's pretty fragile, so you benefit a lot from getting the extra stats from just leveling up in general. He has a 1.8 strength gain, which isn't great, but it's also not awful.
Oh, pure evil here in the river. He's got the Thug Strike on him. Not going to see a glimpse coming out from Hanskin, though. Limp was also in the area, but I guess he was too low on mana to feel comfortable taking that engagement.
And now we've got a level 6 on Clock, and he actually has a mango, so if he wants to, he could eat this mango and go for a hookshot somewhere. And I think the highest priority kill you can find right now is probably the Lina. It's going to bring Hanskin up to almost level 5 in the mid lane if they pull it off. Unless if they still have Limp in there. But even in that case, just slowing down Arise is probably the most likely play they can get away with. Oh, speaking of which, he's going to miss the Light Strike array. Laguna Blade goes out. Will he hit this Dragon Slave? Yes, he will. Max range from Arise.
That damage.
Nicely played on the last 2 spells.
It reminds me of the old Dota video. Step 1, Tear Stun. Step 2, Laguna Blade.
Press
Get
R.
kill. Yeah. I mean, it works.
Oh, good old Crocodiner.
These heroes just do not have the sustainability to stand against that kind of spell damage. And Seal Kid is working his way towards level 6 too. We haven't really talked about the Rubik much, because this early game it's meh, it's pretty lackluster, but there is a ton of good stuff for him to steal in this game. Like, just being able to get Dragon Slave or Laguna, an Impale, an Earthshaker stun, like, there's just so many things. So I think the fact that Nip haven't really given away anything major in the laning phase by having the Rubik is still kind of a good thing for them. Because normally when you pick Rubik, you either pick it with like an AA or you pick it with the intention of not like crushing your lanes. And they've still done pretty well at handling the Brood up until now.
And he's going to have some nice spell steals in this game, which we haven't really talked about so much, but Fissure, of course, being a spell that's pretty easy to steal if you're in the right place at the right time and has massive impact. They still managed to get the damage out before he got down the cliff, and nice hook in from Jonas and the double cogs.
That damage.
Bye.
Yeah, Era cleans it up.
And
very nice Sonic Wave.
They're going to get 3.
This is what we call the 3 for 0 special. Actually, nobody calls it that, but I do. So Nip off to a very nice, at least team fight start. It's the first real action we've seen the entire game, and it did not go well for basically Unknown. Arise, unfortunately, I think he TP'd mid. Maybe it was around the same time that they were taking that engagement in the top lane, but Arise could get potentially caught out here. Question is, does Jonas and Fan have enough to be able to fight? Oh, there's no hook shot. Yeah, there's no hookshot up on Jonas and Fan. Nico Baby's now on the river as well. With that Midas, Limp kind of up here on the high ground. Laguna to the face of Jonas and Fan. He just drops here. Shadow Dance pop by Nico Baby. They want to keep chasing this one out. Glimpse up in 5 seconds. Can they get the vision on the high ground to bring him back? It looks like they're not going to be able to get that kill. So even though they go 3 for 0 on the top lane, basically no one managed to get one back and killing the Clockwork.
And now Brood is going to start being a problem. You can see Arrow is pretty low health under the tower. Brood is now farming jungle camps as well as the lane creeps, and ultimately Arrow will either have to ferry out a salve or he's going to have to go back to base, because he's not sustainable enough right now at this point. Soul Ring is available again now for Relax, could just throw out a Spiderling, and then Arrow is actually so low that he would die from a secondary nuke afterwards. Wait, what's he flying out? Oh, he's sending out his bottle. Okay, so he's going to He's going to be able to refill with that. And that's, of course, going to delay his Orc kit quite a bit. I believe he did have this bottle earlier. He hasn't just bought it. He's been using it a couple times, too, to stand in lane. So
Yeah, it's a good call, though, because really the middle player doesn't necessarily need the bottle crow so much if it's a TA. Yeah. And they've been okay at least controlling one of the runes, so it's not really a huge issue for them to play that way. But I'm still kind of waiting for the real aggression to kick off from either team. The only fight that we saw again was top. The rest of it had just been like solo pickoffs and things like that. At what point does it become detrimental for Nip to farm when Nico Baby has this Midas in his inventory? Because I'm looking like towards more of the mid-late game. You have a Disruptor, which is a nice tool to dealing with the Slark, but that's about it if your Orchid starts to not work for you anymore.
Bottom lane. They still have the glimpse, I believe. Nice hook shot, but they're going to pull him back. This might actually just counterplay their own engagement.
Oh my god, he's actually going to turn around and get a kill here. Arise coming in. Jonas fan with the nice cogs, pushes Arise back. Stun going to miss onto Era, even with the use of the Yules. Vision coming in, Hanskin could be dropping here. There's the Dragon Slay, still has Laguna off cooldown. Needs to bottle up one charge to be able to have the mana to use it. Jonas fan throws out a flare, limp. The rest of NIP nearby, they want to try to chase this down. There's a haster on this TA. Pure Evil, he's got 1 second on the Fissure, gets bottled up by his teammate. He does get the Fissure off before he dies, but he will drop. In the meantime, Seal Kid also going down. Cogs of Jonas fan pops a Battery Assault as well. He wants to go for a Rise here. The Sonic Wave doing some supplemental damage, but it's just not enough. It's a triple kill for a Rise. He does end up finally going down to Limp, and now Nico Baby on the run. He's got Pounce available. And of course, Stramanin in the back here throwing out a stun, not going to make contact, but a very messy fight for both teams. And I suppose it was about even-ish. Like maybe slightly favoring Nip.
I'm actually surprised they got more gold out of that than the Radiant did. 2 for 2 kills and
I think it was because they killed a Rise. He had a 6 streak.
Oh, he had a 6 streak. Yeah, that's right. He gave 800 gold away. So yeah, as you said, pretty messy. But worth noticing is that Brood was not there. So he's getting the job done in the top lane. The tier 1 tower has fallen. He's farming away once more in the jungle, and this is what I was talking about. Even though he had a really hard laning stage, if you leave Brood alone for just a little bit, he comes back very easily. And you can see on the net worth right now, he's actually 5th. He has twice the net worth of the Clockwork, who is easily overtaking him in lane in terms of experience, at least. So
yeah,
I'm nervous for Jonas in this game, because Clockwork, in one way, he does really well without farm, but he's like, how to explain this? So with absolutely no farm, I think he's really weak. With like 1 or 2 core items, he can be great for a good 30-40 minutes. But he needs to get them, else he's literally just a hookshot into dying. So at least getting a Blade Mail to counter out the Lina and the Lion would be great, or even a Force Staff so he can hookshot and then reset and re-go. But he definitely needs something, and right now he is dirt poor.
I think he's kind of gravitating towards that point where he might become not a liability, but not as strong as he wants to be. Glimpse in middle lane onto a Rise into that Static Storm. He will be dropping here. One more kill going the way of NIP. Very nice pick off for them. But I'm kind of in agreement with you as the Clockwork is concerned, because normally you pick Clockwork either to counter supports or cores, and I think in this case, basically I don't have one of the best melee cores against Clockwork in general, which is the Slark. And Nico Baby has been left alone for a very long time now. It's 14 minutes in, he's got Midas, he's got a completed Shadow Blade, and he's level 11. So he is just farming even more than Era is right now.
And the unfortunate thing for Nip, timing-wise, is this is the time when Era actually wants to gank him. Well, he does have Dust. But even if he blinks him and dusts and Orchids, the movement speed from Shadow Blade might actually be able to take Nico Baby out of trouble, even after being Orchided. So
oh man, this
is the best possible timing he could have hoped for. He might be
able
able
to kill Seal Kid or Handskin. Oh god, the Shadow Blade into the Pounce! It doesn't matter though, they're still going to stop him from taking the Roche. Nico Baby pops a Shadow Dance, he wants to get this kill. The T8 trap still proving to be a little bit too much for Nico Baby. Stramanin throws out one stun air, in the meantime gets a kill onto a Rise. Hook shot from Jonas fan will kill Nico Baby, and that teleport is going to be cancelled by the Battery Assault. So it's a 3-for-1 trade favoring NIP. Looked like for a second they might have that Roshan fight turn into a disaster, but
was his Shadow Blade running out?
Yeah, I think
when
it was.
He jumped, he had to make the call there.
Because he Shadow Bladed, I think, on the high ground on the other side of the river.
Yeah, because if he could have waited another 3 seconds, I think it would have been a lot smoother for him. He would have got the kill himself onto the Disruptor instead of Roche getting it, and maybe he could have found a secondary, or at least avoided this end outcome for Nip, which is definitely what they were looking for. Ultimately, they got more than what they came for. They got the Roche and a favorable trade.
And most of the time, hunting down a Slark for their team would still be kind of difficult, unless for some reason you managed to find him out and glimpse him into a Static Storm. But you can see he got a tiny bit impatient. Maybe he just thought that his team was going to be closer, and that trap actually ends up making it and a little bit of body blocking, so he couldn't get the last hit onto Seal Kid and just ends up getting baited in a little bit too far. it goes down. But that also means that Limp will be able to make his way towards either a Deso or BKB. I'm guessing because he purchased a Mithril Hammer first, I'm leaning more towards Deso. That's just like a tendency to what I think. But I guess a TA doesn't necessarily need the Ogre Club all the time if you ever faction for defensive purposes.
It's just a really good BKB game.
Yeah.
He goes from just being really heavily controlled in teamfights to just being able to do whatever he wants. That's how much it changes it. They have no BKB piercing stuns or slows or anything, but they have a hell of a lot that doesn't pierce. So, well, it's worth considering. I think he did buy a secondary hammer. Yes, he did. So he will go Deso first. He does have the Aegis right now, which changes things a bit, because then he can, of course, use that in the next few minutes to get a free life, which is generally better than the BKB charge. We'll see. As Arise is actually going for... Do you think this is Glimmer or Shadowblade?
Has to be Shadowblade, right?
Yeah, it's not really that good of a Glimmer Cape game.
I think Shadowblade is much better for the sort of semi-carry Lina, and you can go for a Silver Edge later on. It's actually very disruptive to TA, because you get rid of Side Blades, which means you essentially have to be in melee range to attack at that point. So, I mean, it's not going to be something he picks up immediately, but you can transition into that. Plus, I think Shadowblade is much better for finding your solo picks if it ever gets to a point in the game where both teams start split pushing a bit more. But Glimmer Cape also has its benefit. I mean, if your Slark gets like glimpsed in and you want to glimmer him so he doesn't get Static Storm killed, like there's also benefit to that. And the supports on the side of basically known, they're not rich by any means. They're also pretty poor.
The Shaker is having a pretty hard game so far. Yeah. 800 net worth minute 18.
Yeah, you know, 5. He's had better games, but I also think that Shaker is one of those heroes where you get like 1 or 2 good engagements, you just get a Blink Dagger out of that later on.
Especially with the change that you get rewarded more for being the lowest net worth hero in the fight and lose less for dying.
It's the comeback player.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call him.
Oh, so they went 2 Midases on the Radiant. So Brood has 1 and Slark has 1. They're not falling very far behind, so whenever you see on the graph there's a clear tendency, the Roshan went the way of the Dire, and after that, every minute Unknowner is out farming them with the Midas and the general increased farm they have from farming the enemy jungle with Brood. I'm just wondering when the Radiant lineup actually is stronger than the Dire in an organized team fight. Like even if they have a higher net worth on the Radiant, I'm not sure it translates into a one fight, because Brood is really deceptive when it comes to that. Obviously, 4,000 of their net worth is invested into Midases that provide really minimal benefit in actual fights.
Well, you might as well just subtract her net worth from the team, if that's the way you want to think of it, because Relax is never really going to be showing his favorite engagements anyway, unless they're coming to him. So,
well, they're going to need to respond to this. They pretty much just lost 2 towers for nothing in mid. TA putting a lot of pressure. I'm hearing a hook shot.
Yeah, they're going to find out Relax here. Dust is popped underneath the tower, but he's going to get fingered straight away. Going to have a pause out.
Mega lag.
Maybe biting off a little bit more than he could shoot right there. It looks like everyone inside of the game is lagging, so hopefully we can sort that issue out. But
it looked weird. It was like when he hookshot the Brood and caught all those units in the cogs. It was like the game... It looked more like in... Oh, that was really weird.
Yeah, I
it looked more like a game issue than a server issue somehow.
Yeah.
Like the timing of that. It could just be, just random.
Well, hopefully everything's A-okay, but I think this game is still... Is there ever a point where the Slark becomes so strong that even the Brood falling off doesn't matter? Because I guess we'll have to hold that thought just for a little second longer.
The lag stops now. Looks like it will.
He's getting hit here by that Brood. Relax, continuing to chase him down. Era trying to finish him off. He had ulti available. I'm not sure why he opted not to use it to save his Disruptor. But we're going to see a teleport out here from the Earthshaker as well. So it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. Relax forces a fairly large engagement, still ends up getting a bit out of it, and I don't know if that was worth, really.
Undip still got 2 towers mid, and they protected their top tier 2 by porting in. Now,
well, I just mean the fact that
tier 2 is also under.
Arrow just had his ulti, and you're just like, nah, I'm going to let you die.
Yeah, that was a little weird. That's one of those situations where you'd rather be safe than sorry.
I guess it is a pretty long cooldown since he doesn't have Aghanims. The question is your Disruptor worth 135 seconds of your life? That's really what it comes down to in the pinch, and Arrow was just like, nah.
How valuable is your friendship relative to your cooldown?
Yeah.
There's the Shadowblade, though, picked up for a rise, so starting to make progress. I feel like Unknown are actually in a pretty good position in this game. They have so much roaming potential now and just the ability to find skirmishes, and NIP can't really be safe on the map anymore, pretty much in any lane. There's always the threat that they get jumped by Slark plus Lina, and none of the heroes survive it. They will all die. Even the TA with the refraction charge on could just get jumped by Slark and get blown up by Lina afterwards. So.
Yeah, that's very true.
How many damage instances does it deal again?
Dark Pact?
Yeah, is it 10?
5? I think it's 10. I think it immediately removes it.
1.5 seconds after cast a series of 10 pulses. Yeah. So it removes refraction entirely.
Yeah. Oh, Laguna Blade here onto Era. Immediately pops the BKB, forced to blink out. Shadow Blade almost getting that kill. Relax, currently chasing him down. He goes for the courier kill, still gets it. It's a tactical bait. No, it wasn't. Era gets away anyway. Bottom lane, or excuse me, top lane. Looks like there's another kill going the way of NIP as they manage to secure Pure Evil. Rise throwing out a stun, lands on 2. They're going to be able to get 1 return kill, but good God, Limp with that damage. Turns around with a Meld Strike and just kills Arise in a matter of seconds. Seems like we don't have real team fights, but we do have a lot of skirmishing going on in this game.
It's what both teams are really good at with their picks. They're definitely looking to skirmish.
Oh, the Venom Dust! Do they have any way of getting vision in these trees? He drops a trap, it's the wrong way! The hook shot, it's off the mark, Relax. Trying to make his way out, he does get hit by the flare. He lost his unit pathing. In the meantime, Eric gets a kill on the Nico baby, but they're inside of the tree line now, finding out that brood. They will take him down. And that is pretty much almost everyone dying on the side of basically Unknown in the course of the 2 minutes or so.
And the biggest kill out of all of them there was the one we didn't see.
Yeah, Slark, of course.
Slark getting solo killed by the Quap is going to put Era in a really good position in this game. He gets a lot of net worth. Slark obviously loses quite a bit. It was a 600 gold kill.
Was there a BKB recipe on that courier for Nico baby? Because I could have sworn he was closer to it.
There might have
No, there wasn't. Okay. I wanted to...
No?
I wanted to be sure, because I thought for a second maybe he only died because he couldn't finish his BKB.
Oh, I see.
But I didn't actually see what was on the courier when it died, so...
Yeah, judging from his net worth, I think he's still missing the recipe.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But the one thing about that death for Nico baby is it does set him back quite a bit. His Midas was off cooldown when he died. You just have to keep in mind that...
Same for Brood. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, it's extremely painful. But once their BKBs come out, really the side of Nip, only 1 or 2 of their heroes is really going to be that threatening at that point. It's going to be Limp, who still does a pretty substantial amount of DPS with his own freshly purchased BKB. And then Era, who can still ulti, of course, and still right-clicks fairly hard, given the circumstances. So I'm thinking that the power spike for basically Unknown that comes out with those BKBs could be enough to kind of push them back.
I would agree with that. And if they find any sort of decent team fight, they will get the Shaker Blink. And that's kind of the really big key item that Unknown is very far away from having that could really change the game around. With BKB on PA as well as Quap, and on the Radiant, the Slark very close to his. We don't have anyone else getting remotely close, so... Oh, well, Brood somewhat.
That Seal Kid going the way of Old Yeller there. Nico baby does not look like he's done just yet. They're going to pop the drums. Hook shot going to be thrown out here as well on bottom lane. Era is going to help secure the kill. Onto Relax. Yule's now.
Nico's really low. He is going to live, though.
Yeah, Limp not going to be so lucky, I don't think. And there is no Aegis on him this time. Couldn't even pop the BKB. Just gets stun locked to death. He did get Yule's, though, so I'm a bit surprised that either that stun timing was perfect or he just didn't BKB.
He might have... Was that really close in the Aegis? No, absolutely not. So he would not have thought he had the Aegis.
You should always be able to BKB that, right? Like, even if you land the stun perfectly, I think you still can BKB.
Yes, he might have... Did he get... I think he got fissured into the stun, or the combo?
Maybe that's what happened.
I'm not sure.
But either way, really big kills going the way of basically Unknown, and that puts them a lot closer to getting the BKB, at least on Nikubi. The Broodmother did die during that engagement, but...
Yeah, the Slark has it in... He's basically going to have it now. He needs 1 CS to grab that. Lion with the Blink, as well as Tranquil's closing in on level 11 as well. He's one of the best tools to a BKB TA. You come out of nowhere, you get the surprise jump, especially if she doesn't have Refraction on.
Yeah.
It's a very fragile hero.
Oh, looking for the glimpse here. Pure Evil, he's going to get caught. Oh, that vision going to be there. And Era, he's actually going to be the one who gets bursted down first. The Queen of Pain, not going to be able to live through that kind of damage. The Laguna Blade helps secure the kill, and that was use, of course, of the Shadow Blade coming out from Arise.
He's getting really rich, too. As Brood is... Or it's actually, never mind, it's Brood who's going to be on the initiating side with Lion finding a kill on Jonas, and all of a sudden the map for NIP kind of falling apart. They're probably going to lose this mid-tier 1 if they're not careful now, as it's 5 versus 3 situation.
And that fissure, a little bit questionable coming out, actually, for pure evil. I'm fairly certain if he had just let Arise get closer, he would have landed that stun. But I think the fissure actually blocked his pathing. Could be wrong, though.
It's a little bit unfortunate. They still got a good fight out of it.
Yeah.
Either way, they get 2 kills. They get both runes. They put pressure in the mid tower. It doesn't look like. Oh, actually, maybe they will be able to do it here, as Nip are not in the area.
Yeah, they're not even reacting to this. They're just like, whatever, just tier 1, it's no big deal. It's kind of worrisome, though, I think, losing your tier 1 at this point when Roshan is still alive. I think you want that tower if you want to try to contest Rosh. Well, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. They didn't have buyback or anything like that on Era. I think the advantage that Nip has at this point is their ability to get into the pit and kill Roshan pretty much for free, as long as basically Unknown don't realize it. So Limp is the only one who needs to be there to kill it. And having that Aegis not only takes it away from basically Unknown, but it allows them to get a couple more really strong team fights in before that Slark could become a little bit too much to handle.
There's going to be one item trying to deal with said Slark, as well as Lina. The gem will be purchased by TA. I'm not sure if she's going to carry it herself, or if they're going to put it on Era's quad, or even on one of the supports, but definitely the way to go for NIP right now. Get a gem that you can benefit from in the fights, try to remove all the map control. It's also great for catching out Brood. Gem in general in this game is really, really good for the Dire side, so definitely agree with this. Maybe they should have even bought it earlier, to be honest, when they were looking even better than they are right now.
My question is, how heavily do basically Unknown contest this Roshan if they see it happening? Did they need to stop it, or is it something that they'd be okay with and just say, okay, we'll try to turtle it up a bit? I mean, they still got a safe lane tier 1 at 26 minutes in.
They're probably okay with it if they get any sort of reasonable turn. If they get the tier 2 top, I think it's alright. This is a very dangerous Rosh fight for them to take. They have no vision, they don't have webs in position for the Brute to try to engage into the fight. He does have 2 in stock, however, so might have actually been able to try for it, but they might have just realized too late and been like, okay, if we even try to move there, we're getting absolutely nothing out of it because we'll be too late anyway. So instead, this top tier 2 looks like it will be claimed. Glyph is available for the Dire. They will probably not be expending it on this, as Arise will take that. That's his Ags all of a sudden. Lina gets another big item going her way. I don't know. I don't really feel like NIP are leading this game. We were talking about, oh, wait a second, Lion is going to get jumped on Skin Solo here. I don't think he can get this kill on his own. Maybe with the glimpse, it's not enough.
Yeah, no more damage output. He doesn't have Man at a finger, though. He can just blink away if he wants. Yeah, there we go.
So I was talking about earlier how I felt like, well, if you look at Unknown's draft, even if they're ahead by a few thousand gold, I'm not sure how strong their teamfight potential is. But when you're starting to see what items this gold is being invested into, I feel like they're leading the game right now. And NIP are not really putting too much pressure, as Era taking a lot of damage will be forced to blink away. And now it's a matter of whether the Radiant get a gem too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they can get the map control for their own, they will be looking really good.
It's just such a weird game because the thing that basically Unknown are waiting on outside of Arise continually getting farm is just the Slark becoming, getting a Scotty or getting another item on top of what he has now, just to make himself tanky enough to be able to withstand a lot of punishment in fights. Because once he gets to that point, I feel like Nip are very bad at dealing with him. Unless, for instance, Hanskin gets himself to an Aghanims, which, let's be honest, he's miles away. He doesn't even have a point booster. So with that in mind, I think that there will be too long of a period between when the Slark gets very strong and when Nip can actually deal with him. That when that happens, basically Unknown just had a huge lead. And it's going to be so hard to squander that.
And if they don't do anything, they are getting out-farmed. They can really... They can try to optimize very quick at farming, can also transition into neutral camps. Brood, the same story. Slark, the same story. So when you've got 3 cores that are able to do that, you tend to do really well. Now, Nip will get a tier 1, and then they're probably going to head back top to defend this tower. They need to find a kill here if they can.
They're going very aggressive into a team with an Aegis, by the way.
Yes, they did not port back the Disruptor in time, it seems. Will not be able to catch the glimpse here. Nico Baby will be fine.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but...
They at least got a tier 1.
I guess in a way, basically Unknown forcing that reaction means that the Aegis is just going to be, expiring, spending time not doing anything big. Which is kind of what you want if you're on their side. As long as Aegis doesn't result in, a really bad team fight going your way, you're probably happy with them just TPing back and them wasting their own time and trying to defend their base when you don't really have the intention of fighting anyway.
Nip only have 2 minutes on it. I don't really... Yeah, I think you're right. It seems pretty unlikely for them to be able to push out far, as you know who we haven't talked about for a while? The Earthshaker. He just managed to get his blink now sub 30 after an abysmal net worth at minute 18. He still managed to grab it now. That's just the game slowing down, him getting some time, the tower goal flowing his way as well. And a little bit of the assist gold when they were behind it, of course, helps him out a great deal. So,
yeah, I'm thinking the longer this goes on, I guess in an ultra late game situation, both teams would probably have a fair chance of winning because basically they don't have their Slark, but they also have Brood, which is notorious for not being like super useful after even like one set of racks is taken down because the racks that you have, like maybe you get the second one. Oh, on that thought, Nico baby getting caught out here on the high ground by Nip, a very nice pickoff.
That's really efficiency. Well, Era literally just picked up that Hex, immediately puts it to use, getting a kill, and they're going to find a secondary on a Rise. That's really big. The two biggest kills they find in quick succession, maybe transitioning this into a tower push bottom, or at the very least getting the Wards of Seal Kit out and getting some more map control.
Well, I guess all the theory craft in the world doesn't help you from people just getting caught out.
Two shot.
All right, that damage.
Melt Strike
Please.
and one attack. Very easy kill on the Lion.
Now, what is his next item? He bought something, correct? Oh, he bought Blink. Yeah, okay. He already had it on him. I thought he might be going just for the data list, but having the mobility of Blink with BKB helps you close the gap for those support heroes like Shaker and Lion, and they cannot do anything. Like, if you BKB and Blink on them, they are dead. Like, 100% of the time.
Yeah, they're going to need Ghost Hunters or Glimmer Capes to deal with it. Lion looks like he's working on a little bit of everything. He got a Staff of Wizardry, maybe thinking about Force Staff, and then he went back for a Cloak. And well, suddenly Nip, with Aegis still in the inventory, starts sieging the base. They will retreat after forcing out the Glyph.
I mean, just that is enough. Even looking at the lanes right now, two of them are pushed into basically Unknown's doorstep, and bottom is barely being pushed toward their side of the map. So I think they'll be pretty happy with the exchange they made in the last few minutes. Just finding those free kills, getting that huge momentum swing. You could just wait for the third Roshan if you really want to. Go for the cheese, get another Aegis up on your TA, perhaps give the cheese to Era, who is still getting pretty good amount of farm. Still highest net worth in the game, by the way, followed by Limp. So NIP, even under these circumstances where the Slark and Arise on Alina were doing quite a bit of work, they still managed to maintain their farm.
And the question is if the next Roche is just going to be free for Nip or not. I have a feeling that Unknown will not let it happen, that they actually want to fight for it. I still would really like to see them grab a gem so they can feel more safe on the map. NIP have way superior vision right now with the wards. Only one Radiant Ward existing right now above the Roche pit, but whereas NIP have 3 on the map inside the enemy jungle and in 2 lanes. So they get way more information than Unknown do right now. And, well, they might still be able to find something here. This is a super dead Rubik for starters.
Yeah,
or maybe
BKB,
not. They're not finishing him off. Finally they do. But it comes to the price here. Lion as well as Shaker already down, and now Arise too. They jumped on 2 targets at the same time. Got a little bit greedy with that opening.
Yeah, it was not
and
the kill.
It's going to cost them maybe 4. No. BKB popped by Relax.
So, I can understand throwing out the Yule straight away onto Limp, but I guess that's just the effect of not having X against a hero as BKB, as your stun Yule's combination just becomes useless after a while. So you're going to need another item in progression, like you're going to need Era's buildup, which is that Hex on top to ensure that you can just kill Limp to make sure that just pop that BKB, because at this point, the BKB usefulness on that hero is insane. Like, it just deletes everyone on the side of basically Unknown. Even the Slark can't deal with the refraction with the BKB up. Like, he needs to be able to hit you with Dark Pack to remove it, so... Limp is, I think, kind of keeping his team alive here along with Era.
Yeah, they just need the Blink Hex from Lion to go on the TA. That is the way they deal with the BKB. There's pretty much no other play. Arguably, Blink Echo Flame can set up as well, but it's way more situational. But yeah, it's been doing a lot of work. Now, it is being used quite a bit. Now it's down to 8 seconds. Eris is actually 9. Wow, they've used them less than I thought. Man, NIP are looking pretty good.
I think he maybe misclicked one of the times because he ended up dying in the woods, like in the Dire jungle, when he got caught out. I think he meant to use it there, but just didn't. So maybe it could have been like 1 or 2 extra charges down. But very conservative about their BKB usage on the side of Nip, and it seems to be working out pretty well. The Slark, the Brood, and the Lina, though, is still very closely trailing in the terms of overall net worth. And that DD, that's a rune. That is a TA rune right there.
That's an extra 126 damage. I think he can one-shot Lion with Melt Strike, actually, right?
Yeah, he definitely can.
Uses that. We're going to get another pause from Arise. Lag Bratans. Servers are bad. Okay.
What are we playing on, by the way, server-wise? I wonder if we're just playing on, like...
I would assume we're in Stockholm, right?
Yeah. But sometimes the routing is weird. Like, sometimes I've had servers on Lux give me lower ping than Stockholm. It's very bizarre. But either way, it's still... I think it's still anyone's game, actually. Like, I was favoring basically Unknown in the late game because I thought that Slark would become a huge issue, but I guess you can never underestimate how much burst damage a Templar Assassin can do. And the thing about TA is her damage is always physical. So you're going to be hitting hard no matter what stage in the game it is. BKBs have no deterrent on you whatsoever. So you'll always be affected, more or less. It looks like the game is going to go ahead and resume here.
Yeah, it really does seem like one of those games where the success of each team fight respectively comes down to how well can NIP, like the hookshot is really crucial. They got a good one last fight from Jonas. Can Clock get a good jump together with Disruptor Static Storm? Or on the other side, will Lion be able to blink hex a key target and get an Echo Slam off? As Brood will BKB TP out from this gank. NIP are really, they're playing aggressively up on the map. They're taking advantage. His hookshot is going to whiff. I was looking for the Lion, who oh, that rocket's not going to see him. Might have seen the Shaker blink TP out. And ultimately, even though NIP don't find a single kill here, oh, do they? Wait.
I was very close, but
wow.
The Lion just barely missed. I don't think the TA trap has vision of Stomatin either. I think he's just going to TP to safety.
Yeah, they saw him there with that rocket just catching it. So even though they don't find a kill, they force three defensive TPs. They push out the bottom lane easily. However, Arise as well as Nico very quickly pick up on this and push out the other two lanes. So NIP not really going to get too much out of it after all.
I guess it just boils down to one of those games where the team who fights better is just going to win. Like, I really think it's just at that point. Full damage is definitely helping in that regard in terms of taking Roshan down. This will be cheese and Aegis, so maybe a slight favor for NIP because they are dire. The TA has been able to secure pretty much every single Roshan thus far, which maybe if basically I know we're contesting wouldn't have happened so much, but Hookshot going to be on a pure evil inside of the woods. He's going to be a bonus kill in addition to securing Roshan for the side of NIP. Air will go ahead and pick that up.
They might even get more if he can glimpse this Lion with the rocket.
Oh yeah, he did. And there is just not much they can do about
this.
that.
This could be high ground, although, well, once again, Nico doing some good split pushing. This split push is really important. If he's not in the dire base right now, they'll be losing the tier 2 bottom and maybe even a tier 3. Both supports on the Radiant, no buyback. Even though it's only 30 seconds, this dire lineup pushes really fast. But they at least have to rotate Jonas back. I don't think this is going to be enough to scare Nico away as he sees the other heroes bottom, but now with a secondary TP from Rubik, he is going to pounce and Glimpse will not reach him before he uses Shadow Blade.
I gotta say, I've been very impressed with the way NIP have played this game. It seemed like at some points, basically Unknown, they weren't necessarily outmaneuvering, but they felt like they really were in a good position. And, oh, Jonas and Fan getting Evil Laguna to the face. Yep. They should be able to find at least one kill from this, though. BKB and Shadow Dance are both up from Nico Baby, but he might get a chance to pop either of them, and he does not, as Era gets himself on a mega kill streak. Gonna see a teleport out from Arise. Light Strike Array stolen here by Steel Kid, used to scout out.
That was crucial for finding that kill, by the way. I think they don't kill the Slark there without the stolen Light Strike Array from Steel Kid. Very nicely done. Changed the stunts perfectly and prevents the BKB Dark Pact, or BKB Shadow Dance rather, from coming out.
Just seems like whenever we say something, it just goes the other way.
NIP are not going to push the base right now.
I think they...
Damn.
Who has the cheese, by the way? Okay, so Era has the cheese.
Yeah, they have Aegis and cheese still.
Yeah, TA has 6,200 gold. I mean, is this just buy a full Daedalus, or is this like buy a Butterfly or something else? I think Daedalus is probably best item for killing the Slark, for sure.
I could consider... No, yeah, I guess Daedalus is a really solid choice. I was wondering if you wanted to get an MKB to prepare for a potential Butterfly from Slark, but it doesn't look like that's anywhere close regardless. So.
Yeah, he just bought a Scotty, and then he died afterwards, so he pretty much has no money. Can't even buy back, actually.
I actually think Unknown will lose a Rax here unless they play a really good fight. Limp is in a pretty good position to just take this tower. They're in a good... Oh, well, maybe not. I think if they know there's no buyback on Slark here, they try to force this a bit more, but they're not
I think
sure.
they try to force it anyway, though, with the Aegis, right?
But they're scared that if they commit to the tower, then the buyback comes out together with an initiation from Unknown, and they end up not only losing their Aegis, but maybe 2 or 3 heroes, making the buyback well worth it. It is going to be a Butterfly, though, for Limp. Nice in one piece.
Yeah, Butterfly is actually, I would say, almost better for pushing high ground. Just because it allows you to dodge a couple of tower shots to get the bonus attack speed, and crits obviously don't work on towers, so... Yeah, I like the Butterfly choice, too. And there's another double damage. Good God.
I think it might actually... Does it deal more damage? It deals more damage to towers than a Daedalus does.
Yeah.
It gives 60 damage and 35 attack speed. So, it's better, for sure. that is some of the least efficiency I've ever seen out of an Archer. He healed him for a good, like, 60.
That's how I went with my tangos. I missed like 40 health, and I'm like, I have to tango. I had like OCD, missing health, need it all back. But still,
they see relax. He's gonna TP out. Rocket, is there a glimpse?
Nope, not quite.
Very close to being able to get that.
He would have had buyback if he went down, but still forcing it would have been really good for NIP.
And it would be delaying a really big key item. Like this Kiras on the Radiant side is very important. When you enter late game, armor and physical damage become increasingly important, and the armor aura in Kiras as well as Vlad's are very, very valuable to get.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup right now of basically Unknown, and I'm asking myself, who can actually tank the TA right now? Because that's the hero where you really have to think about, okay, if we don't kill him straight away, he's going to kill all of us, pretty much. And that's not even counting Arrow, who almost has an entire refresher, actually has the money for right now. So we can have double Hex, double ult, double BKB, double Orchid, but he just wants to save for buyback, and he even has bots on top of that.
Double boost travel, double cheese.
Yeah.
He just needs another one.
I mean, what you do for style points in the middle of a fight is you use all your skills Hex.
Oh, they found the rise again.
This is bad. This is really bad. He has BKB, but the stun lock is too much from the side of Nip. Era finding himself yet another kill. He's only died once this game, by the way.
And this is just the result of NIP having superior map control. Like, ever since they bought that gem, I feel like they've been winning more game every minute. Like, that for me is the biggest turning point. It's when Unknown lost control of the map. You see Arise here, he's starting to get desperate for some sort of intel, so he starts moving out on the map, and even inside Shadowblade can be spotted by a gem or a sentry and just gets caught out as Nico Baby is gonna get jumped on. Nice counter initiation though from Stomanen.
Yeah, BKB pop by Nico Baby. The pure damage from the ulti. Yeah, not enough.
Get out. Stomanen will be hexed by Era though.
Yeah, this is gonna be a kill. And I'm seeing a little lag here, not sure if it's pause worthy, but they do get a handful of kills. Basically, Unknown killed anyone in the last little while. I think they killed one person, right?
I mean, if you bring up the gold graph, you can see the events. Yeah. And there's an event, what's that, 3 minutes ago, found one kill in Jonas, and then, like, 8 minutes ago or 7, they found one kill in Seal Kid. That's
it just seems to be like
10 kills for NIP and Roche and everything.
You kind of mentioned it, just pick after pick after pick, and eventually, basically, Unknown are just getting whittled down by the fact that they really don't ever have map control anywhere. So I'm wondering at this point, is the last play to just try to like YOLO smoke for Roshan? When I mean not even including this one, like the next Roshan, like fourth Roshan, because otherwise you're never really going to be able to get your high ground together much to push across the map at all, because Nipper just always in their face.
I think a smoke play would make a lot of sense if they managed to push out the waves first, because they have no other means of initiating. Like, it's just not happening. They're going to run through some sort of dire vision, or even if they Shadowblade, as we've seen a couple of times before, they just get jumped by Arrow with their gem. So it's probably the way to go. I believe they have smokes available. They have one in stock, and actually that's their only one, so they need to make a big play with that.
Multiple boots of trouble being purchased by the side of Nip, and the refresher coming out on Arrow. This is reaching a very scary stage in the game if you're basically Unknown.
He can actually kill Shaker and Lion on his own with just 2 ults, I think.
Yeah.
He needs a little bit extra to kill the Shaker. I believe, yeah, he needs a little bit extra. But Lion dies to 2 ults, Shaker loses 85%. So anything in between that, and then the other heroes drop to half. If Era gets everything off on a couple of heroes, Unknown can't win the fight. It's impossible.
I think the Brood is kind of becoming more of a hindrance than anything else to basically Unknown. Like, even though it's not like he's played bad, it's just the inherent limitations of the hero. He's been forced back to base so many times that Relax hasn't really been able to pressure a lane in a very long time, and he's no longer forcing Nip to come to him. He's just like sitting in there on his own, worried that he's going to die all the time. And that hero, I didn't think he would become as big of a handicap as he really is for the team. Like, he can't really contribute in a meaningful way. Like, he's just farming the woods. What we can do.
They want a hook from Jonas. He's gonna stop Nico Baby up here. He does have a TP available. Might just try to pounce and use it, but
he needs to try to use it.
Hiding here for now. They found Lion as well. Hex Era will not be there. Wow.
The question is, does he die?
Sorry.
Wait. Okay, never mind. I thought I saw another auto attack going.
Oh, from the TA?
Yeah, from the TA.
Yeah, that might have actually been enough if he got another one up.
Yeah, it looked weird to me because I thought I saw the projectile turn in air,
But it's one of those situations again where NIP, sure, they don't find the kills, but they pressure the map. They force 2 heroes back to base, they push out lanes, and they just see more and more. And they are the team gaining gold every minute, even though they're playing up against double Midas. That goes to show how much they're actually controlling and out-farming on the map. So. Now they're going to have to do something as there's a hookshot up top, Staman, and very, very dead.
yeah.
Easy pick. And they can do this all the time because of the Acceptor and the Clockwork. He has hookshot ready once again and could try to make a play. Question is if they're going to find this ward right now that's actually doing a bit of work for the Radiant. Clock is going to move past. If he shoots a rocket, he'll realize it's there. He shot it the other way, though.
I mean, I think the biggest problem right now, outside of not being able to go anywhere for basically unknown, is their Slark is being like viciously hunted. Like he's made a glimpse here. He actually wastes his TP. They might be able to get close enough to him to deal some damage. He's getting flanked from the other side.
Find him.
Yeah, the BKB's popped here. It's got a couple of seconds left. He's trying to make it out. He does have Shadow Dance. He's going to pounce to the high ground. Might be enough. Era he overlaps it very well, though. Not going to be able to get Hex just yet. Nice hook shot at Cogs, though, from Jonas and Fan. Nico, baby, they are just relentless on Nip. They won't let him get away. They managed to find him once again. There is buyback available in the Slark.
That was actually a really nice attempt at the getaway. He almost made it into the river and... Well, I still think he really doesn't get away. They can just keep running into
Their ability is nuts. Like, hook shot on a 12-second cooldown, Queen Blink, Blink Dagger on TA, Hex's Glimpse. Like, how do you actually run away from that?
Yeah, that's true. He used everything he had, so he had no escape plan even after getting into the river. Looks like Nip want to try to force the buyback. Nice fissure. Coming out from Pure Evil's going to delay them. Actually, TA is in range to the tower. What the hell? That does not look like she's in range to me, but she's barely has enough range there to bring the tower low. No Aegis anymore, though, as Roshan actually available for the Dire. If they wanted to claim it, it would be completely free right now.
Yeah, I think they go get that first. I mean, they might be trying to bait out a buyback, though, from Nico maybe as well. I think it's almost impossible for him to actually buy back here, though, unless there's a guaranteed initiation waiting for him. Because if he buys back, and then for some reason they lose the Rex anyway, then they're either forced to fight around Roshan, which is bad, or they can just lose the game straight up. If he just dies one more time, it's just like put him over. So fortunate that they didn't actually have to waste the buyback. They lose a tier 3 though, which is still kind of concerning. You want to keep tier 3s alive as long as humanly possible. Like, when it gets to the point where all your outer tier towers are down, if you start losing tier 3s, that opens up even the possibility of getting ratted, and that is a problem too.
Yeah, NIP's heroes are actually fairly decent at split pushing.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, it was the way they won, I believe, the first game of the Swedish finals here. They played against 8 Mother's team, which by the way
Taco
has
Life.
Miracle on it. Taco Life. Good to see Miracle back play.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a really close game, but Arrow managed to split push with a PL, so they're definitely not afraid to pull out the right place if it's needed. As this Yule and Pounce not going to combine very well, and Nip actually just going to completely counterplay Arise, getting blown up. He gets the Guna Blade off, but this into Refraction doing 0 damage. Limp will limp away actually as they pounce up with the Slark following through. Do they have more lockdown? No, yes. Wait, maybe.
Yeah, they got him. Nico baby is taking extra pressure pop by Era. BKB is out, relaxed, getting very low on health here. Looks like they want to try to chase him down here. They will in the meantime be able to take out Nico baby and Showman, and Relax going to be the next one to fall. He's trying to lifesteal throw, but Jonas a fan with a hook shot to the face says no thank you to that. Limp has fought back into the game, going to make their way towards the Roshan pit. That is a team wipe going the way of NIP. And I gotta say, the start of that looked like the first time this entire game where that Slark was going to be able to just chase down the TA, which I think is what we were both expecting to happen for a long time, and it just didn't matter. The goal advantage from Nip, they just bought back and they're like, yep, whatever, it's fine. We can commit these buybacks for Roshan.
Yeah, they're gonna get another Aegis and Cheese going their way. Clock just using one of them just to heal up, basically, and get ready for the upcoming fight. Goes to show that NIP's plan here is to go immediately after the Roche kill. They're gonna take it and then they're going to go push bottom, else it doesn't really make sense for Clockwork to use the Cheese like that instead of just going back to base to heal up. So I would imagine they're just immediately gonna go bottom as we see Hanskin now gonna pick up the Ag Scepter.
That item is so unbelievably good.
It is extremely good.
It's one of those things where, as a melee hero especially, you never want to have to prematurely BKB. That's like the worst feeling in the world, where you feel like, oh, if I don't BKB now, I'm just never going to get to use it at all. And that's the sense that you get when you're playing against a Disruptor who has Aghanims. It essentially means that if you ever get caught you're just dead to rights. It's just like getting doomed, basically. Well, yeah, you can't do anything.
Oh, good aggressive force staff play from Staman, and they're gonna get Limp basically for free, it looks like. Yes. Very nice play. And now Sealkid trying to help out. Wow, okay, he definitely got Echo's Limp right there. Can Limp make anything out of the BKB charge?
Yeah, he's going to try to go back in here. He's going to find Purible. Shikker's already down, but he already expended everything in his arsenal. Doesn't even have Echo left. Gonna see a Yules here. Onto Era. Nice Static Storm, though, preventing the stun coming out. Era, he pops his own BKB. Still has the cheese available. Nico Baby is going to be on forward retreat. Looks like both teams don't want to try to pursue this any farther. And I got to say, basically Unknown dodged a bullet there. Like, that forced that forward, making sure they got the Aegis off the TA. That probably just saved their racks.
Yeah, that aggressive force staff play. I love seeing aggressive force staff plays like that. They used to be really popular to pull off, especially around the TI2 era with Ferrari playing the Quaswex Invoker with Force Orchid. They won quite a few engages and fights and just forcing enemies into the teams. But it's pretty rare nowadays to see the plays, and just makes them that much more impressive when teams do pull them out like that.
Looks like the potential for a rehost is near, just to make sure that teams don't have to deal with the lag inside the game during fights, because that's going to be super frustrating. We see it a little bit on our end too, but I think it's worse for the players from their perspective, so hopefully nothing terrible happens because of that, but if need be, we will rehost. And Limp, he did lose his Aegis, just waiting to see what his next item's going to be. He's sitting on top of 5,300 gold, give or take. I mean, he can go back for the Daedalus now. I mean, it doesn't matter what he buys, but I think MKB or Daedalus are pretty much the two go-tos at this point.
You know what I was just thinking? An item we never see on TA that in a way makes sense if you have the right item build?
What's that?
Like a refresher. So no one buys that on TA, right?
Right.
But in theory, it gives you 2 BKBs, it gives you an extra refraction, which is actually pretty good. And as a 6th item, if you have another active inventory item that you could use, it could actually be an interesting idea. It's just, like, I think players don't, it took us how many years of playing Dota until we started buying Refresher on, like, carries, actually, like, a PA6 slotted with Refresher to refresh, Abyssal Blade, BKB, Boost of Travel, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could
It'd be funny to see that as a 6th item. I was just thinking, because he's starting to get 6 slotted, but obviously he wants the Daedalus first. And it's just one of those heroes where it seems like you want more slots than you have compared to other carries, so probably not. But
it kind of goes hand in hand with the theorizing back when BKB used to be, you could rebuy it, right?
Yeah.
Like before they changed it. And then people were saying then Refresher becomes like the best 6 slot for all carries, so you could have 2 BKBs. And that was like the new go-to. It's like, oh yeah, well you gotta buy Refresher now as a 6th item, so you can just have your 10-second BKB instead of just rebuying it in the late game. So
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised to see stuff like that coming out in the future. If they do have enough of those items. And I think Abyssal is still really good against Slark. Hook shot, gonna be off the mark here. Sealkid blinking forward, along with Limp. They find a rise. Good night.
Right.
90 seconds on the sidelines, no buyback whatsoever. Still in the area, looking to try to make something else happen. Or at the very least, push in this middle lane. He just died instantly.
He's out for 80 as well. I'm not sure if NIP have an idea that he does not have buyback, but that is pretty much a call to go high ground.
Even if he had, you'd still go.
Yeah, they would probably still go. Wait, did you mention Absorb Clockwork?
Just picked it up a second ago.
Yeah. It's going to counterplay the Lion nicely. It's a good way of removing Hex. They're actually going to put it onto Limp.
It actually worked!
Onto Lion.
So mad and dies. Oh god, alright.
Oh, that might not have been Reflect. That might have actually been Era's own Hex, so sure. Ooh,
no, I mean the double force staff.
Oh yeah.
Unless it was a force staff from Bonusum fan, because it looked like maybe the Lotus Orb came in after. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was just like they force staffed at identical times. Well,
We're gonna
either
give
way,
them the benefit of the doubt and say it was a cool play.
It was a super cool play. I was there.
30 seconds. Unknown pretty much have no chance of defending this lane of Rex either. Question is if they're going to even have time to hold the bottom one. It's another 20 seconds for NIP. Make very quick work of the barracks with all the damage coming out from Limp. And they might just play it safe and pull back here as you get 2 Rex for free. Could buy an KB or the Daedalus in just a second on the TA. Actually has the money for Daedalus in now, if he wants to go that path.
Yeah, I think that is what he is buying. No, MKB actually.
He did go for the MKB. So True Strike against pretty much nothing for now.
I guess it's not a huge deal either way.
Slightly better against buildings than
that attack speed.
Yeah, the attack speed and it's a little bit more flat damage, right?
I think it's 81 versus 88.
Yeah,
right?
It's like almost no difference. It's a little bit better.
Hey man, if you're min-maxing your high ground push, 8 damage and 15 attack speed, or excuse me, 7 damage.
Yeah.
15 attack speed. That's the dream. And I swear to God, how many DDs have gotten this game? Like, every single time it goes out of Moon, there's a double damage.
I mean, that's the benefit of having the whole map under your control. You tend to get, like, if the game is long enough, you'll get a lot of double damages by just, I guess, like, out of the last 30 minutes, basically Unknown got, like, 2 runes or something. It feels
they haven't been to the river. Like, getting off of their side of the map has more or less been impossible just because NiP, they get, what, like 8 or 9 picks in a row? And then all of a sudden, basically, Unknown say, oh, well, now we just can't fight because we've given you too many items. And our Slark never really got to that critical mass that we were hoping for, and it might be a little bit too late as we are now double racks. And we're rolling up on the 53-minute mark. So,
oh, yeah, I have been corrected by Twitch chat, actually.
Oh, what happened?
He's getting the MKB's incapacitating bite. That's a good point.
Yeah, but you can just BKB as well.
Yeah, but his BKB is dropping low. So after that, he'll be blind. It's 5 seconds, you know.
Yeah, it's true. No, that's
You're right, Twitch chat. You're always right. Good job.
Well played. That's why they're 9k MMR.
I mean,
to be honest, I just thought that Brood was such like a non-factor at this point that it didn't.
True.
It didn't even matter. Like,
I mean, I feel like still, if that's the reason, he's building the item for something that hasn't been a problem at all for the last 54 minutes. I don't seem to remember a single fight where it was like, oh damn, I'm missing a lot on TA. Is hitting me because Brood is hitting someone else.
Yeah.
And like
he usually goes for supports.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's still a nice thing to have, just in case.
And yeah, and in case Slark builds a butterfly somewhere down the line, he already has it prepared, so it's okay.
So I guess now we're looking at some Moon Shard purchases coming out. Oh, they're gonna get a Hex on a Stamana. Goodbye. Era now on a godlike streak. And both of Limp and Era just net worth gods right now. Just full inventories, more or less.
They're going to immediately port to bottom, looking for another pick. This is a really great play, because just found a pick on the other side of the map, and they're already here. Pure Evil will actually make it out. All right, that shot from TA looked like it was going to hit, but
it was close.
Yeah, I think he would have lived anyway, actually. Pretty close. 30 seconds on Lion. NiP, they have 1 cheese. Wait just for another few minutes. They could just wait for Roche. It's theirs. There is no way Unknown can contest them anymore. They have to go for a really sick defensive play with... They need a good Echo Slam, which I feel like we haven't even seen a mediocre Echo Slam all game.
Yeah, but to be fair, he hasn't really had any times to do it, because the fights are never really, like, big team fights. It's usually a couple of heroes getting picked off here or there. When he threw his Echo down middle lane, I think that was one of the best opportunities that he's been given, even though it only hit, like, 1 hero, because no one else really ever gets out of position on the side of NiP. They don't really have to. All of their heroes are ranged except for the Clockwork, so they usually have a pretty decent concave when they're pushing in. That makes it hard to engage. You also have to assume that if the Rubik is on point, he can either steal or lift as well. So I think it's actually a very difficult game for the Shaker to find that Echo.
Definitely is, and yeah, the fights are just, even the actual team fights are so short.
Yeah.
Like, the TA just 2-shots someone, and then the Shaker's like, well, you kind of want to jump 1 hero, but it's not good enough.
By the way, do you like that panic BKB? Because he's a flare and he's like, dear God, no.
He got real scared.
He just immediately turns yellow and runs away.
I think it was down to 5 anyway.
Yeah.
It might have been, yeah, I think that was at 5. So it doesn't really matter at all.
I just think it's the mental state of the team. When you can't really ever see anything and you just see like a flare randomly and you know that if you don't BKB you have a chance of dying, like that's got to be such a terrible feeling to have.
Playing without map control is the worst.
Yeah.
It is actually the worst. Like, even if you have a feeling you're behind by 10 or 15,000 gold, as long as you feel like you have a grip on the map, it just really drains your hope when you don't see anything and you just feel like you're getting more and more cornered and you never get to make a play. Then it's much better behind and feeling like, okay, we have an opportunity to actually come back.
Yeah.
There's just no opportunity to come back because they're never, like you said, they haven't crossed the river in an eternity. So they're going to have to try to make some more chancy pushes, pushing out lanes further with the Slark, but it's just so risky with the Boots of Travel level 2 on the quad, and of course the Clockwork being able to jump from anywhere on the map almost. With his own Boost of Travel, just port to the wave and hookshot in.
Well, Roshan's up. Question now is, does Limp still take it, or does he give it to somebody else? And look, he's going to be dropping an item for it. He's dropping his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, he's just going to drop that and go and hit the tower. So he's the best hero to give it to. He's very difficult to kill. Unknown to kill the Templar Assassin once, have to commit keys. And then they use the Aegis, he can BKB and they can finish off the lane ranks. So.
I think he should buy some moon shards though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real reason not to, right? Like, he's got Aegis. Even if he buys moon shards, he could still... Yeah, he still has buyback, even if he buys an entire moon shard. And the other choice, too, is... maybe you wouldn't get rid of Desolator if you were trying to go high ground. Minus armor is still very good for pushing.
Refresher.
Yeah. Refresher, too. Refresh your refraction so you can...
I wonder if it's actually ever been purchased before in TA. It might have never been.
In a competitive game, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never seen it.
Everything has happened before in pubs.
Yeah, oh, Hex.
Oh, good aggressive force staff again. But they're going to remove it, the Hex with Echo Shell. Get the tower. It's do or die time for Unknown. They got to go now. They're waiting for next refraction out of Limp. He's going to use it in a sec with the next wave. And
we're going to be watching out for that incapacitating bite. Miss Chan on the MKB target. Sorry, I just had to throw it out at least once. I actually don't think there's been a single point in this game where the Brood has gone on the TA.
I can't remember one either. Oh, there's the Echo Slam on...
Yeah, they fly well, they're going to try to stun lock in, but the Glimmer Cape doing a ton of work from the side of him. The first one to go down is actually going to be on the side of basically Unknown. It will be a Rise. He buys back into the game. Straight away, Handskin secures the kill on Pureville as well. Jonas and Fan picking himself up a double by taking out Shtoman, and there's an ult just for good measure. BKB still available here on air if he wants to. He gets first hit bash though by Nico Baby, who is still alive in this team fight. Another kinetic field going to be dropped here. Slark trying to make his way out of this team fight. Jonas and Fan has the hook shot available, wants to go back in. Glimpse back, and that's going to be one more kill. Buyback again, but that's going to be Mega Crepes, and I gotta say, I think Nip probably just won it there. And there's the GG. Probably won it there. It was a very long and hard-fought battle for Nip. They managed to pull through. It seemed 25, 35 minutes in that basically Unknown actually had a really good amount of map control. They were in the position that Nip were for like the last, I don't know, 20 minutes of the game, 25 minutes if you want to call it that. And they just got picked off again and again and again.